Okay, today's video we are going to talk about how to make more money with Shopify Audiences, which is a brand new part of Shopify if you're using Shopify Plus. And the combination of the Shopify Audiences and Google Ads specifically to make a ton more money. How much more money? 20 to 100% more money from your Google Ads as it sits right now. No bull. With that said, I'm going to give you multiple examples of how you're going to be able to make more money with other companies that have already done this and the size of increase that they got, which in some cases is over 100% increase in profitability from their Google Ads account that they're running, and how they basically are doing it. So with all that said, I will get directly into the content. Lots of people with a Shopify Plus account, which is a $2,000 a month package, by the way. So if you're thinking about Shopify Plus and you think you're going to be able to get into this cheaply and easily, it's, you probably, for the value to be there, you probably got to be doing $1 million a year in revenue already. If you're doing $1 million more a year in revenue, might be a little bit less than that, but it's worth every dime of the $2,000 a month that you're paying, specifically for no other reason that you can tap into these Shopify audiences to make more money using the specific methods that I'm going to talk about here in this video. The other thing, by the way, the reason why you want to use Shopify Plus as a whole is because you can customize your site a lot more than regular Shopify, and specifically with your checkout system, putting what they call trust symbols in your shopping cart should be able to decrease your shopping cart abandonment rate by at least 20%, which when you compound that out over $1 million a year in revenue, and you get of the people that that buy, you get about 20% more of the people that go to your cart to buy. That in itself can pay for itself. Just as a side note on Shopify Plus, if you're thinking about it. But when you combine that and Shopify Audiences, it totally will pay for itself. I may do a video just about Shopify Audiences. That said, this is about Shopify Audiences specifically, and of course Google Ads. Most people though that are trying to use Shopify Audiences are using Shopify Audiences to make sales with Facebook specifically, hoping to beat the results they're already getting with Facebook. And I'm here to tell you that is the total, it's totally short-sighted to use only Facebook ads and Shopify Audiences to make money. The reason for that is you simply aren't going to get better results than Facebook lookalike audiences, with Facebook having way more data than Shopify. I don't care how big Shopify is. They're not as big as Facebook. They're not as big as Facebook in terms of the purchase data that they have with all the advertisers they have, and the cookie data they have, and the purchase data they have with their advertisers hooking up revenue tracking to their campaigns, and all the all the like buttons and share buttons on all the websites on the web, and so forth. There's way more data, in other words, that Facebook has than Shopify, and as it comes to machine learning and AI systems and everything else, he who has the most data wins. Your predictions are going to be more accurate, and this advertising game online is all about predicting user behavior, what people are willing to buy before they even know they're going to buy it, or as they're willing to buy it. With Facebook having more physical data, they're not going to having the ability to take Shopify data and optimize a campaign off of it, or run a campaign off of it, when compared to Facebook data that also has their own data. You're just, as we found, and you'll find otherwise, asking other people about this or watching other even YouTube videos to match up what I'm saying here, you're not going to get better results than the Facebook lookalike algorithm. That said, Facebook has more data than Shopify. Google, on the other hand, their similar audiences, which are supposed to be like lookalike audiences on Facebook, basically it's the equivalent. So Facebook had the lookalikes audiences. Google has similar audiences, and they were basically the equivalent, but just similar audiences were Google's version of the lookalikes audiences. And Facebook lookalikes audiences usually were pretty good. Google similar audiences were catching up, but like Google nowadays, don't kill me here, Google, please. Just being honest here, you can improve and take our advice to improve your program or not. The similar audiences, because they were getting more popular, they started to embed that with other crap that people didn't want. And you have, audience expansion, so forth. You can't even do similar audiences anymore on Google Ads as it comes to summer 2023. So you aren't even going to be able to do this anymore. Of course, now there's a big gap where there didn't need to be one. Google just opened up an opportunity for Shopify Audiences to come in and be useful to run audiences on Google Display Network and so forth through Google Ads and make money where there wasn't money to be made before, because similar audiences is going away in summer of 2023. So that's one major way that you can use Shopify Audiences to make money. And you could look at this, at a blessing in disguise, because if you're big enough to afford Shopify Plus, you're now in position to make all the money on Google Display Network using these audiences, and the little guys in your market that want to come up, now they don't have that stepping stone anymore. Which, by the way, similar audiences on Google Ads never really work for the small guy. You kind of need at least 1,000 visits a month to your website, like minimum, to do any kind of decent damage with similar audiences as it was, and really 10,000 a month. For the sample size on the data to do well with it, and unlike Facebook, you could get by with less traffic to your site to build the lookalikes audiences. With Google similar audiences, you needed a lot of data. But anyway, beyond that, in addition to being able to take Shopify Audiences and import them to your Google Ads account to run Google Display Network campaigns based upon that data, which basically that data is all of the data that Shopify has about all the purchases that are going on, all the Shopify sites on their platform itself. With that, you can also use Shopify audience data and the lookalikes audiences that Shopify Audiences provides to get 20 to 100% more results. This is the bigger thing, the bigger opportunity that nobody else on YouTube is going to tell you about. Nobody. You could use it as a bid adjustment tool on search campaigns, shopping campaigns, and display campaigns as well, and it generally will probably be able to make you more money, and given it's a more practical way to actually leverage Shopify audience data to make money and through Google Ads. And what I mean by that specifically, the reason why you're not going to hear about this anymore is because most people's Google Ads strategy is very basic, and the people that are good at advanced Google Ad strategies, they're busy making money. I'm running a PPC agency here with about 40, 50 clients that I manage at any given time. I'm making enough money to know what I'm talking about and come here with real information. With Google search ads, which are of course the text ads on Google, with that said, running those text ads, there's something called audiences, or there's an audience button or tab on your campaign. If you go look for that audience tab is actually there to allow you to bid up or down for certain keywords in your search campaigns if somebody has a trait. So in other words, if you're advertising for the keyword red shoes, right? Whether or not you show up for red shoes can be up to you based upon that person who searches for red shoes having certain individual traits that make them unique. For example, if you know people searching for red shoes, given you have a female, shoe site that only sells, products that are, for females, they're high heels or whatever, naturally, you basically know that unless that person searching for red shoes is a female, you're wasting your money having that ad show up for them. So in that case, you could weed out all males from seeing your ads and make more money, right? That could be done really easily under the audience menu as a default way to narrow down the amount of people who can see your ads that search for that keyword red shoes. But you could go way, way, way further than that by actually having definitive separate audiences added to your audience menu of your search campaign itself. Such as, if somebody is a high school graduate, I can say I'm willing to pay 40% more if they were a high school graduate when searching for red shoes than if they weren't a high school graduate and willing to pay basically 40% less. In that, you can set up an audience inside your search campaign for high school graduates and find out the statistical likelihood that somebody who's a high school graduate versus not a high school graduate is willing to buy versus not buy. And once you discover what that spread is from the people who are high school graduates versus non-high school graduates, you can assign a very unique bid adjustment, as they call it, to the high school graduate audience, understanding that somebody who's a high school graduate, if you find 40% the high school graduate so-called audience or just high school graduates as Google has identified them, are if you find that they're 40% more likely to buy than somebody who hasn't been labeled a high school graduate by Google, you of course would be stupid to not spend 40% more per click, or tell Google you're willing to spend 40% more per click for a high school graduate versus non-graduate, as you're going to be able to get more sales from that particular keyword than you would otherwise, given you're not just going to automatically show up for red shoes or not show up for red shoes. Depending on how much you're willing to pay for a click under and for that keyword red shoes dictates what percentage of the time you'll show up for red shoes versus not show up. And so, which is something, by the way, called search impression share. Search impression share is simply the number of times that your ad is eligible to show up out of 100 times that it could potentially show, what percent or what number out of 100 of the times that somebody, ultimately users on Google are searching for red shoes, that your ad will actually show up. And that's based upon a number of different factors, but basically the biggest factor is how much you're willing to pay for a click from a user who searches for red shoes will dictate what percent out of 100 you're going to show up, have your ad show up for people searching for red shoes at any given time. The more likely the higher of a bid you're willing to pay for somebody that's typing in red shoes to see your ad, the more likely you'll show up at all. First of all, because sometimes you may not show up. You may show up 0 times because you're not bidding high enough at all. And that might be because your site's not converting high enough to ultimately get the conversion rate you need. So you just can't afford to advertise there at all. But in a lot of cases, you'll be able to afford to show up as long as you're not paying too much. And how you get an edge on being able to afford to show up more, given there's only so much value as a whole from all people searching red shoes, is you add these audiences to distinguish and then drill down into the inner audience or the list of people that are searching for red shoes on a monthly basis, and try to only focus more so on the ones that search for red shoes that are more profitable to you as a whole, using statistics and math to be able to do so. So, and I've talked about this in other videos, how you go in there and you add 100 of these different individual audiences. Likes coffee, frequent fast food eater, high school graduate, college graduate, ultimately likes watching baseball, likes luxury cars, fashion shopper, whatever. And Google gives you thousands of these different individual audience choices to be able to see not only how if they're on one of these audiences that Google profiles, their users and trying to put them into these individual different buckets. Not only are you going to be able to see if they're in one group versus another, how they actually statistically convert for you versus not, but then you can adjust and you have a little lever on each one where you can decide I'll pay less or more percentage-wise if they're in one of those individual groups versus not in each one of those individual groups. And you can ultimately take a campaign and a keyword that's not profitable and make it profitable by dissecting it, potentially basically finding the half of it that's profitable to you and the half that's not, and then getting rid of the half that's not. Or more realistically, it's finding out what half is most profitable, sticking with it or doing more of it, and then finding the half that's not profitable, telling Google you're willing to pay less. So if you can give me clicks at a cheaper rate, I'll still take them. And then whatever budget you were wasting on the bottom half there, reallocating it to the part of the account, part of that keyword traffic that is producing above average, and then leveraging and getting more sales from that keyword, because you know that what you were paying, you'll get more profit by just paying a little bit more, because there's certain parts of the keyword traffic, all the searchers that search for that keyword on a monthly basis, that are way profitable. And if you'll be dumb not to spend a little bit more to get more of that traffic, given it's 3 times as more profitable as anybody else that searches for that particular keyword. So that's audiences as in a nutshell. As it comes to search ads, how to make money from keywords that aren't necessarily profitable until you dissect and segment out individuals that search on an individual keyword level. As it comes to Shopify Audiences, you could take Shopify Audiences out of Shopify, import them into Google Ads, and add the Shopify audience as another audience. So now you can, just like I was explaining before, you can see the individual performance from Shopify Audiences, and if they're on Shopify Audiences audience, do they convert less or more? Given usually, if you have a Shopify site, they're going to convert more, because anybody who's basically shopping on Shopify on other people's sites, they're going to be multiple factors more likely to be a customer on your site, because basically they're going through Amazon. They don't need to put all their details in, because a lot of the people have the Shopify app and it's one-click ordering, and so ultimately it just statistically, because somebody who shops buys from sites that have Shopify already are more likely to buy from you, given you're also having a Shopify site and making it easier for the customer. You could take that data that Shopify is allowing you to have and ultimately use it as a prediction tool to see if somebody's more likely to buy from you given the keywords that you're already targeting, so that you can tell Google up front before they search, if a guy comes through or a gal comes through searching for my keywords and they're on this list, i.e. they shop on Shopify and they're on Shopify's lookalike list that they gave me here through Shopify Plus, I want to spend an additional 60% more per click for these users if they're on Shopify's lookalike list. And in that case, instead of making $100,000 a year on this campaign with all these keywords, I can now make $180,000 per year, because I understood before, when people are searching, the people that shop on other Shopify sites, they're way more likely to convert on my Shopify site, so I'm willing to spend more for those people in specific, and having the awareness to understand where to spend more without losing money. Because ultimately, if you just bid more for all the traffic on that campaign, you might just go in negative ROI territory. But if you could tell the 10, 20, 30% of that traffic from that campaign that's 2, 3, 4 times more likely to convert than the rest of it, you could take that 20, 30% that's like that, decide to spend 50% more per click, and yes, you're spending more for that traffic, but you'll end up getting 3 times as many sales from that segment, because you're essentially now on that small segment that's way more profitable than anything else, showing up basically 100% of the time. And that gives you an edge on your competition, because your competition's not going to have the Shopify audience data in their account to show you, and not just show you, but also give you the opportunity to ultimately single them out, so that when people are searching for your keywords, that you're able to treat them differently, given they're so much more valuable to your business as a whole. They're not going to have that data. You're going to have it. So when that Shopify user that likes to shop on Shopify sites, or has before basically, comes through on Google to search for your keywords, they're 3 times more likely than the average user that searched for your keywords. Your competition that's still trying to advertise and get that customer for those same keywords don't understand the value of that person like the value. You're willing to spend more, therefore you're the one that gets the ad to show up for the person. Your competition did not, because they did not have that awareness about the value of the user like you did before that person searched. So naturally, all in all, and in general, there's 4 on Google. There's 4 search ads on the top of Google. People don't realize, they think if you advertise, you'll just show up there at the top of Google, everything's simple. No. There's 10 people trying to advertise on your keywords that you also want to advertise at any given point. That's why, going back to the search suppression share thing that I was talking about earlier, you're not going to show up every time. Who gets to show up here a lot of it comes down to what you're willing to pay, but there's also other factors like what's your click-through rate on your ad, average historically, what's your conversion rate on your site you're taking people to historically. Those are all factors. But whether or not you get to be shown in the four of the 10 people trying to advertise for those keywords get shown or somebody else has to do a lot with you. It's a bidding system. Are you willing to bid high enough to be the four in the 4 slots of the 10 people that won in those 4 slots or not? And you knowing when a Shopify person comes along, they're 3 times more likely to buy. I'm willing to spend way more for that user because they're going to convert 3 times the rate any other user is for this keyword. Therefore, you know something that the other 10 people don't know. Therefore, you're going to, at least for all the Shopify users now, because you're going to tell Google, I want to spend more if a Shopify user comes by, you're going to be in that top 4 position for any Shopify user basically every time moving forward. Not just a part of the time, all of the time. Because you know they're damn profitable and you've got the extra awareness as to what the user's worth. And that's what basically PPC and making money on Google or Facebook or any of this other stuff is all about. At the end of the day, everything, making money with PPC is about setting up tracking, collecting data about who works, who's profitable to you and who's not, and then being able to tailor your ads constantly, pushing into the direction of what's the most profitable to you, spending more for the most profitable people, and then taking the budget to do that from the part of what you were doing that was less profitable. And doing that and doing that and doing that and doing that over and over and over again till eventually what you have is so damn profitable it crushes it. And anybody new coming in with no awareness will have an extremely hard time competing with you because it's like, you know so much more about how to make money than that average person does that's starting out. Even if they have a lot of money, they're probably never going to have a chance because it's going to take them so long to figure out how to eventually get their ads to run right that they'll probably be discouraged and quit before they even get to the point where their ads can make money and they've collected enough data to actually know how to run a decent, profitable campaign. So anyway, with all that said, that's where the real opportunity is with these Shopify audiences, i.e. import them into your account, put them into your audience menu for your search campaigns, watch how much better they convert for you, and then setting a bid adjustment higher for the proportional amount that they're converting for you higher than the average traffic for your set keywords in that search campaign. You could do the same thing for regular shopping campaigns. Importing your audiences to the audience menu, bidding differently for the people that are Shopify customers using the Shopify audiences. Doing the same thing with display campaigns if you want to run display ads, specifically through observances. So I'm not talking about just running a display campaign targeting people that are Shopify audience members, which you could do individually. No, I'm talking about running a display campaign targeting which my number one go-to for display audiences campaigns on Google Ads or through Google Ads is targeting your competitors and saying, hey, that competitor's tool there, it's a piece of dog shit. The reason why you don't want it is this, this, and this. If you do want something that doesn't do those things, look at our tool, which, by the way, is a very effective method to run display ads. And you make money, but you make more money understanding, going back to the same thing I was talking about before, when a Shopify person comes along that's been on that competitor site, which you can do, that they'll be 3 times more likely to buy from you if they've been on a Shopify site in the recent past and bought from somebody else that has a Shopify site, that you're willing to pay more to have that ad show up for that person than somebody who hasn't been a customer on a Shopify site before, because they're more likely to convert. So through observances, you can do the same thing. You can adjust a bid and say, I'm willing to pay Google, I'm willing to pay twice as much per click if they are a Shopify customer versus a non-Shopify customer. So they still have to have been on one of my competitor sites in the recent past, but also, if they're also a Shopify customer, I'm willing to pay double for that user to click. And therefore, you'll get more clicks from the Shopify people than you would have otherwise, so to say. And ultimately, you can get to the point on something like that where you find out, unless I could pay 20 cents per click on this ad for somebody who's been to my competitor's site before, the ad's not going to be profitable, but we know we can pay 50 cents per click if they've been a Shopify customer before, and you set that up, and then you double the performance of the campaign overall, since so many people have shopped on a Shopify site recently, and you knowing that, you put yourself in position to get that kind of a large win from your already existing campaigns, having just that extra data awareness about whether that person shopped on Shopify in the recent past or not. So this actually, by the way, can secondarily also be said about PMAX campaigns. PMAX campaigns, if you do them, you know that you can set up signals within your campaigns, and within the asset group, you can set up signals. Within the signals, if you have the Shopify Audiences imported into your account, you can have the signal be the Shopify Audiences. So ultimately, Google, hey Google, if they're on this Shopify Audience list, you should use this to target my PMAX campaigns, and then they can use that data to target your PMAX campaigns. So that's another way to make money now. The signals are not targeting options. So it's not, as far as I've seen, I'm just telling you here, not going to be as effective as using the Shopify Audiences to steer your regular search, shopping, and display campaigns. Particularly the best is the search and the shopping. But it will help a little bit, as we've seen for the PMAX campaigns as well, putting them in as a signal on your PMAX campaigns. And in that kind of thing, you just have your PMAX campaign, it's running great, create a new asset group, but having the signal also include the Shopify Audiences, and then see how much of a difference that makes. Even though that's not like really a advised practice, so to say, because audience groups that target the same items are going to kind of conflict, but at the same time, you can kind of see how much it works for you. Otherwise, if you don't give a shit, you just trust what I'm saying here, add the Shopify Audiences as the signal to your already existing asset groups, and you'll get more performance out of your campaign. Maybe not 100% increase, but it might be 20% increase or so, which on this 20 to 100% gain you can get using this data to steer your campaigns, your already existing campaigns, it'll be on the lower end in terms of using it to boost a PMAX campaign, as we have found. Maybe we just haven't done it long enough yet, because this Shopify Audiences hasn't been around much greater than a year already. I don't know exactly when they started the program, a couple of years ago. But anyway, with all that said, getting into the case studies here, what we did was, as soon as we found out about Shopify Audiences, we started doing this for basically all of our clients on Shopify Plus. We did this for a paint store, women's clothing store, mailbox store, all e-commerce, okay, obviously. What we did was, the best way we could find out to analyze how well this is actually working compared to like everything else, and not just doing it on an individual case-by-case basis or campaign-by-campaign basis. We tried to look at the whole account before and after using Shopify Audiences to do what I'm talking about here. Specifically, use them to help steer the already existing campaigns that we already had, which is where the big returns actually come from, not actually using it to just run a display campaign, which that may or may not even work for you, by the way. And so with that said, in the year, starting out with the paint company, interior paint company, in 2022, we had a 46% increase in our year-over-year profitability versus the previous year, which that's a pretty good year-over-year increase in profitability on a Google Ads account that we're managing for the client, given we are kind of a high-price firm. We can do a lot, but the results are a lot more. And by the way, as it comes to PPC results, you want to pay the company or person you're helping as much as you can, because ultimately, it wouldn't be any reason not to. There's no reason to try to get a good deal on a PPC strategist or pay a little bit, because you're just going to get a little bit of results and you're leaving the rest of the results on the table. Anyway, 46% year-over-year increase from 2021 to 2022 in terms of increase in profitability from our Google Ads account for the client that we manage as a whole. Going into 2023, however, we had gone from a 46% increase in profitability to an 82% increase in profitability. So 78% increase in the rate of growth in profitability of the account occurred after we instituted this whole system of adding Shopify Audiences to all of our campaigns and used it to steer and have more data awareness over what we should be bidding, and ultimately segmenting our bidding for all the campaigns and audiences and traffic that we're buying, so that we can ultimately spend more on the people that are Shopify audience members versus not. So that right there gives you your first indication right away that you want to do this. If that wasn't enough for you, I have a women's clothing company here that we also did this for. And we had a year-over-year increase in profitability on their account from 2021 to 2022 of 97% increase, which we don't typically get that kind of a year-over-year profitability increase typically. That's a little bit above average, but granted it was there. Now, we blew past that, going from 2022 to 2023, as we had a 162% increase in profitability once we brought in Shopify Audiences in addition to all the rest of the stuff we were doing that was working rather well. So, and that's a 67% increase in the rate of growth, the profitability of the account, before and after having the ability to use the Shopify Audiences to our advantage. The third example is for a mailbox company that sells decorative mailboxes, premium mailboxes, however you want to say that. Actually, both, a decorative, premium mailbox. With that, and they sell a variety of different designs and so forth. But with that company, we had a 68% increase in year-over-year profitability from 2021 to 2022 in terms of the increase in profitability of the account as a whole. Going into 2023, however, total difference here. We went from a 68% year-over-year profitability increase to 230% increase in profitability. So, and that's a 238% increase in the growth of profitability, going from, instead of comparing 2021 to 2022 growth in profit versus 2022 to 2023 growth in profit. So there's an opportunity here that you're not just going to, in other words, grow your profitability of your account by 100%. It can go beyond that. It can go 200, 300%, depending on what market you're in. Granted, this guy that runs this company, the mailbox company, has a really unique product that's really high in demand. So I don't want to say that's your normal, everyday results you're going to get with this. And quoted more so like 20 to 100% if you're in a competitive market with a kind of a Me Too type offer. But the better your offer, the more this is going to help. Naturally, because it's just easier to market your product. And that's the main reason why. But that's the kind of results that you can get with using this method, adding it, the lookalikes audience, Shopify, audience. If you want to call it Shopify lookalike audience, you can do that. Some people call it that. To your campaigns, and then setting your bids uniquely different for each of your campaigns, using that extra data and helping you get more from your campaigns that are already existing with more data and leverage over those campaigns because you know more about the users that are going through those campaigns. Now, some of you guys might be saying you're already using smart bidding, maximize conversion value, which with maximized conversions you can set a target cost per conversion. With a maximized conversion value bidding type or bidding strategy type, you can have a target ROAS, which is return on account spend, or revenue divided by ad spend as a percentage, which I recommend doing those as well. But even with the so-called smart bidding, which is one of those two options there, adjusting your bids on the audience level of your search campaign, your shopping campaign, it's still going to be helped by the bid adjustments on the audience level and on the level of the Shopify audience that you import to these campaigns. There's some people are going to say, still, I don't know why they're still saying it, but they're going to say if you have automated bidding set up, adjusting your bids on male versus female, or ultimately even on one device to the other, it doesn't matter because the algorithm just takes over and ignores all those bid adjustments. And what I have to say to that is, why the hell do they still have the bid adjustments there available if they don't do anything if you have smart bidding? It's really dumb to say that. Naturally, if you turn on smart bidding, it's going to say they recommend turning off your device level adjustments, but they don't make you do it, and they say nothing about the other adjustments in the audience menu about time of day, or excuse me, like age, gender, parental status, and then going further onto the actual audience, in-market audiences, affinity audiences that you can use. It doesn't say anything about that at all because it actually still has an effect on your campaign performance if you use additional audience, and then bid adjustments on each additional audience like I was talking about you should do, in general, and also with Shopify Audiences on this video. So as a general disclaimer, even if you're using smart bidding, this is still going to be able to work well for you, or just as good as not having smart bidding and using this to adjust your bids for people that are Shopify customers on other people's Shopify stores, and leveraging Shopify's first-party data that can show you that inside your Google Ads account. Now, with all that said, like I said, if you want to go further and run a display campaign targeting Shopify audience members, you could do that. If you already have search campaigns and shopping campaigns going, they're really, really profitable for you, and you think at that point it's always kind of still worth running a display campaign, I'm always going to start by targeting people that have been on our site before, i.e. remarketing, and then people who are looking into our reviews but haven't been to our site before, and then I'm going to target people who have been to our direct competitor sites, and then I'm going to get into, that's what I'm going to do all that first, in other words, because that's going to be the most profitable thing you can do with display advertising. Then I'm going to get into targeting total cold traffic. And at that point, if there's so-called an in-market audience that Google has, that they've got a list of people that already are looking to buy what you exactly have. Let's say if you're selling custom stickers and there's an in-market audience saying that's for custom stickers, I would do that before even targeting the Shopify audience here itself, because Google's data is going to be better than Shopify's data. Just like I told you with Facebook. Facebook's going to have better data on it as a whole than Shopify. Once you've gotten past in-market audiences that match your exact company or brand, from there, basically still, I'm going to go ahead and try to create a custom intent audience that targets people who have searched for buying keywords in my space already. So going back to the sticker example, if someone is typing in buy custom stickers or buy custom sticker printing or whatever, and you're trying to sell custom stickers still, with the custom intent audience, anybody who searched for that in the recent past, like the last 30 days or so, your ad can show up for them on the Google Display Network, and you can make money up and find customers that way. Once you've done that, now you're getting to the point where Shopify Audiences really are the next in line, so to say, to be able to make money from it. So, in other words, it's not like a panacea. It's an end-all, be-all. You should be smart about it. Target the low-hanging fruit customers first, in the order that I kind of gave you. That's a free cheat sheet on how to do display advertising that works. There's way more to it than you need to know other than that. I've got a whole book written on this topic of Google Display Network, banner ad marketing on Amazon if you're curious, but also tons of information on this channel as well in terms of how to make ad copy, how to make an offer to get your campaign to work, and so forth. But Shopify Audiences can be helpful for you at some point, because now you're leveraging the customer. Particularly if you're in where you have a totally unique item, or you're inventing a category, a product category itself from scratch, you're targeting all the people who bought from your competitors or on your competitors' site, Shopify sites, with the Shopify audience data, so that on Google Display Network, if they're on your direct competitor sites, you can target them. Of course, you could still do that with Google Display Network, but more importantly, it's about the customer data, because Google, even though Google has Google Analytics and so on and so forth, Shopify has the customer data, and there's going to be a little bit of data that Shopify has as a whole anyway, that Google Ads and Google Analytics and Chrome, people that use Chrome, that they're not going to quite have. It's not going to be a ton of it, but it's still going to be some. So that's why I said don't do it right away until you've done all this other stuff first, and why I said it's not that powerful in terms of an opportunity for you to use the Shopify Audiences to run a display network campaign or a Facebook campaign, but it is a fantastic tool, as is already proven by our clients' results and examples that we did there, I showed you there, to steer campaigns, to give you an extra layer of data and awareness about how the campaigns perform for certain people that have already shopped on Shopify before. And so with that, Google does not have that particular data. When they send you somebody that says that they say, oh, this looks like a good customer, they don't know if they've been a Shopify customer or not, or at least not very well, we'll just say. And that's where you get your major opportunity from here with the Shopify Audiences. Now, I do hear, and I haven't done any more research on this, Google and Shopify are kind of passing data in between the companies, which I don't know how much longer this will even be an advantage, because basically Google can get all the customer data and they have a data sharing agreement already. I don't know what degree to that. I don't think that they're sharing data, otherwise we wouldn't be getting results like this, at least to the level where Google already knows about every single customer that comes through a Shopify site. And I think there'd be privacy issues there, particularly anyway, or it could land them in hot water at some point. Where I think Google and Shopify have, are linking up is they share the customer data, with Google, in that if you're a customer of Shopify, they let Google know that you're a customer of Shopify as per you're using Shopify service, not giving up the customer data from Shopify's, in other words, Shopify's customers. They're not handing up that data to Google, as far as I'm aware. Maybe that'll change in the future. But anyway, with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. That's exactly how you use Shopify Audiences and Google Ads to make money. If you have any questions, let me know. Ultimately, you can leave me a comment about this or any other PPC question you have, and I'll be happy to get back to you within a couple days' time. Beyond that, if you would like the video, I'd really appreciate that, and you should consider subscribing to this channel outright, because I have a ton of videos on this channel that are going to tell you exactly how to make money with PPC on Google Ads, Facebook Ads, and so forth. I cover it on this channel. I cover what works with our few dozen PPC clients, and in which I manage on a regular, ongoing basis, and find the stuff that's working. So if you want to hear it coming from the horse's mouth of somebody in the trenches every day doing it, this is the person you want to hear it from, and this is the channel for you. With all that said, if you like this channel as well, there's also a blog that I write at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where you can find also some other strategies we use to guarantee our clients' results at our firm. And with that said, we, literally speaking, do guarantee people's results up front on their campaigns. So if you want to see the stuff we're using to do that, you can find that on the blog that's authored by myself. If you like the channel, you'll like the blog, basically, simply put. As a final note, I have a brand new program at our PPC agency that we started, where if you're looking to start a new business, perhaps, instead of figuring out, basically what niche to get into or what to do, you could take one of the campaigns that we've already developed a campaign for, and in a market we've developed a campaign for, and take our campaigns, our proven campaigns for certain industries, and simply take those results and use them in a Google account or a Facebook account that you start up, and generate results for a new business basically right away. In that, if we have a plumber that we're getting great results in, Michigan, that's generating several million a year with great margins and everything, and you want to start a plumbing business in Florida, instead of just starting from scratch, why not just use our campaigns and landing pages we already know work for that market in your area in Florida, start up and have a few $1 million a year business already that's going and paying for itself and is profitable within the first few months, just because you have the campaign we spent millions of dollars optimizing already in a different market. And so we really do, for the most part, give you the templates of exactly what it's going to take to get similar results in your market. We've got product campaign templates, service campaign templates, as long as there's no conflict of interest between our current client or past client and what you're doing, i.e. you're in different geographic territories, that your business is in a different geographic area, in other words, looking for customers in a different area. We can be able to help you in that kind of way, and maybe we've already got results in your exact market already. So in that case, it'd be really dumb not to just come and get our results, that we've already done the hard work for you. And so with that, you could get the pay basically a one-time fee to get the exact results campaign template and so forth that works in that market, and wouldn't necessarily even have to pay us an ongoing fee to help you manage your campaigns that other clients spend a good amount of money to help build up their campaigns over time. So anyway, it's a shortcut to success. If you want to see if we've gotten results in your market before, reach out to my firm. We'll be able to let you know what markets we have gotten results in and what results we've gotten in those markets. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you on my next video where we have another great PPC money-making idea for you there as well. See you there.